Okay, so we're going to start with the very simple representation, which is going to be of the chambers of the heart. So the heart is going to be split into 4 chambers separated by the septum, which is going to be separating oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood. So right here is going to be the right atrium. Then right here is going to be the right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Now we would imagine that this would be, this part right here would be right atrium and ventricle, but it turns out we're going to be looking at the heart in a way that someone else would see it, right? So from another person's perspective, this would be the right side of your heart right here. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit more detail, and I'm going to be mentioning the valves and also the arteries and the veins coming in from the heart. Let's start with the superior and inferior vena cava. So this is going to be the inferior vena cava coming in from here. This is where deoxygenated blood from the lower body comes in into the heart. This is the veins carrying deoxygenated blood. And then you can kind of imagine, so if this was our right atrium, and then here the deoxygenated blood was coming in. All right, so and then from the right atrium into the left ventricle, they are going to be separated by what's called the tricuspid valve. And I'm just going to draw it like this. So here's our septum. And here is our right ventricle. So I'm going to try to explain the blood flow in a second, but basically from the right atrium to the right ventricle, it's then pumped through the pulmonary arteries. Through the pulmonary arteries into the right and left lung. And then right here, it's going to be separated by what's called the pulmonary valve. And remember, pulmonary is referring to lung, pulmonary. Now, usually arteries carry oxygenated blood, but this is the exclusion. In this case, the arteries are carrying deoxygenated blood. Okay, and then as the blood is oxygenated, it then comes back through the pulmonary veins. And again, usually veins carry deoxygenated blood, but in this case, it's going to be carrying oxygenated blood. Let me just... Right, so and then as the blood is coming through the pulmonary veins, it's going to go into the left atrium. And the left atrium and the left ventricle are separated by the mitral valve. Okay, and then as the blood goes into the left ventricle, it is then going to be pumped through the aorta, which is one of the main arteries in our body. It's going to carry oxygenated blood throughout the body. Oh, and then from the aorta to the left ventricle, it's going to be separated by what's called the aortic valve. We're going to start demonstrating the blood flow. So, right, blood flow goes into the right atrium, and then it's going to go into the right ventricle, and then into the pulmonary artery, into the lungs. After it's oxygenated, it's going to go through the pulmonary veins into the left atrium, then left ventricle, and then into the aorta. So remember that this is the tricuspid valve, separating the right atrium and right ventricle. Okay, and this is going to be the mitral valve, which is going to be separating the left atrium and left ventricle. And then right here is going to be the pulmonary valve, which is separating the right ventricle and the pulmonary from the pulmonary artery. And then we also have one more, which is the aortic valve, separating the left ventricle from the aorta. Labeling the main blood vessels, this is going to be the aorta. This is going to be the inferior, referencing to below, inferior vena cava. And this is going to be the superior vena cava. And then these, of course, are the pulmonary arteries carrying deoxygenated blood. And then these are going to be the pulmonary veins carrying oxygenated blood. So this is a general overview of how blood is flowing through the heart. Remember that blood is going from high pressure to low pressure, which is the main thing driving all of this. And there's also some nodes here, the SA node, and then I believe it's the SV node. But basically it's electrical signals being sent to make sure blood is being pumped more efficiently, for example, to let the ventricles fill up more. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to consider about the heart. Maybe I will cover those topics in a later video, but this video is about the blood flow, right? All right, and hopefully you found this video helpful to understand how, in a general sense, how blood is flowing through the heart.